What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Chris from Hair Loss from Steroids, and more recently, as I've said in a video earlier tonight, GoodLookingLoser.com. Now, Good Looking Loser will not be a place for everybody. Okay, it's a bit controversial, but it's along the same lines of legit shit that works. So, if you have any interest in it, hop on over there. But what you might be more interested in is I've opened up a hair loss forum in GoodLookingLoser.com. So there's a forum, and then there's a new hair loss forum. It's quite small right now. We just started it literally 6 days ago, but it will get pretty big, and it is the place you can contact me. Okay, I'd rather not say me because, you know, I'm so busy these days. I like to say contact us. Chances are if you ask a question in there, you will be referred to it, the exact video, the exact post, or just given the answer by one of the members on hair loss, on Good Looking Loser, who has obviously studied hair loss from steroids and, you know, is going to stand in for my voice. Thank God people are so good on that forum, you know, for helping each other out. So you can go over there if you have a question for me. You know, if the question goes unanswered and people don't know, I'll hop in on it. I'll also just hop in on stuff just from time to time as well. But I do like to think that this channel, okay, probably right now, and there's only maybe 50 plus videos, and the website, can provide you with 90% of the information you want to know. Okay, 90% of information you want to know. Okay, but it also provides 100% of the information, in my opinion, let's just say 99 to be safe, information that you need to know. Okay, 90% of what you want to know, 99% of what you need to know. Any other kind of stuff, yeah, feel free to ask a question about it. Okay, ask questions anyway. Chances are you will find them in my videos, but if you do want to go to the forum, we are very prompt. We very much take care of each other, and it's really a good thing. So my suggestions were as follows. If you followed my channel, you will know finasteride, 1 milligram a day. That is what I take. Rather, I take 2.5 milligrams every other day. My doctor tells me to split them, and that's great. Ketoconazole shampoo, my favorite is the Big 3 by Lipogaine. Good stuff. I think it adds more volume to the hair than Region Pure, which is also wonderful. And Lipogaine, okay? Lipogaine, you've heard it before. Oops. Lipogaine. Alright, and that is a high quality 5% minoxidil, 5% azelaic acid formula. Okay, so finasteride, minoxidil, ketoconazole, azelaic acid. Those were the a lot of people talk about Big 3, but it's kind of the Big 4 for this. But it was kind of inferred that the minoxidil would have azelaic acid. What's so good about azelaic acid? Well, it combats DHT. I always put up one study where it suggests that it combats, or it didn't suggest, it concluded that it combated 100% of DHT. Now that gets people's expectations up really high. Okay, I'll tell you right now, for me it didn't combat 100% of it, but it was quite helpful in both types of DHT. Okay, so the stuff, at least on paper, certainly works. It has for me, you know, and more importantly, just for the majority of guys, it has. Now, Lipogaine has unfortunately had to take the 5% azelaic acid out of their formula. Okay, they've been under pressure from Amazon.com. Actually, Amazon made the decision quite easy for them. If you put the azelaic acid in, you can't sell your stuff on Amazon. I totally understand why they took it out. And do I still recommend Lipogaine? The answer is yes. It's the highest quality minoxidil out there. Minoxidil, while it's known as a hair growth formula, it also impacts hair loss. There's a study that I often post that given a 12-month period, guys went from losing 69 hairs in the shower, almost 70, I think 69.7 or 69.3, to about 33, okay? Drastic reduction, over 50%. Alright, drastic. So for a guy that was on and off minoxidil in his 20s, by the mid-20s, I was like, this shit doesn't work. It's garbage. I don't like putting oily stuff on my head anyway. I probably made a mistake with that. Got back on, read the research, and I was like, yeah, I guess I did like not lose as much hair in the shower, but I wouldn't get the regrowth. People have very high expectations of minoxidil, of all the hair loss treatments, really. I mean, that's why it's such a market full of like garbage that like people will buy. But minoxidil was good stuff, so I do recommend Lipogaine still. But you know, who knows if it will be as good without the azelaic acid. Now, they say it will, and I think for most guys it probably will. Their minoxidil formula is like really, really good, but you can't ignore the fact and the evidence behind azelaic acid, and all the times that I've used it, it seems to have been better than just a generic formula, okay? Because I guess I'm doing Lipogaine mostly now. Sometimes I alternate like Lipogaine in the morning, this at night, and just go to sleep on it. But that's been, you know, when I was only using the generic Kirkland, I seemed to have a little bit more hair. It didn't seem as dense, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just going by appearance. It's always hard to say the net gain, net loss of hairs in a day, and then which ones are because of male pattern baldness, which ones are miniaturizing. Shedding is one thing, okay, that is natural, it is, but male pattern baldness, miniaturization of follicles, that is, you know, androgenic alopecia, okay, different than shedding. Those hairs will miniaturize, and then be gone, okay. Shedding is just shedding. You know, hair going from the anagen phase to the telogen phase, falling out, coming back, same size. So azelaic acid has been really good. My solution to that is getting azelaic acid cream with your doctor's approval, okay? I've seamlessly made the transition after, you know, I had a lot of the Lipogaine formulas that still had azelaic acid because I bought a bunch of them, and only recently have they, you know, not been in the formulas. But I've not noticed a difference, and if anything, I've noticed an improvement. And here's the improvement: I've gotten little peach fuzz in here, okay? It's gonna be hard to tell on a webcam, but peach fuzz. Now, those are never gonna mature into like what's up here, but it is evidence of something's working, okay? Those little hairs weren't there before. Now, you could say, wow, was the azelaic acid or perhaps minoxidil growing your hair? Is it giving you regrowth? Possibly, but what I more think it is these hairs would shed like very rapidly. They'd grow out a little bit, and they would be gone like very quickly, almost so quickly that I never really got the chance to so much notice them. But now they're not shedding, they're not falling out, okay? And it's actually not shedding. What it is male pattern baldness on the hairline. They don't seem as susceptible to that because they're not usually around for more than a couple days, and now it's been about 5 weeks, and they seem to be just more in there. So what that is evidence of to me is DHT being probably reduced significantly, if not eliminated, in that area. These hairs would never grow out of just like, there would be no peach fuzz in the first place, let alone like some significant peach fuzz. Not thick, but definitely noticeable compared to what it was before. It's evidence that DHT is being removed from the scalp in that area, okay? So those will never mature into like, regular healthy big hairs, but suppose now you took the azelaic acid and put it in areas where there is, remaining hair, perhaps thin but remaining hair. You can expect that to even have a more dramatic impact, okay? Hairs that would normally shed or be susceptible to male pattern baldness, very quickly in their growth phase, now get the chance to survive. And that is part of actually why this is everything's been looking better than ever. I really can't remember the last time. There's two things. I think this cream's helping me, and then a little thing with my thyroid where it's been high normal for the past 5 years. I take thyroid hormone, my doctor approves, we oversee the blood work, but it was always high normal, still in range, but I decided to put it down to normal, okay, and sure enough, like, a lot of these hairs are staying on my head. Have I had regrowth? Not in the terms that most people are thinking out there, where hairs that have miniaturized now mature back into what they were, or, you know, some form of that. Have I had that? No. What is going on is less hairs are falling out, okay? Not necessarily regrowth, but less hairs are falling out. So the net gain of that is, if I used to lose 100 hairs a day, now I lose 50, and this is very, very hypothetical numbers. I'm going to have that percentage more of hair on my head. Literally, there's more on my head, okay? Hairs that would normally just shed and come back, okay, because thyroid hair loss is shedding. It's not necessarily male pattern baldness. Well, it isn't if it's solely thyroid. These hairs are now active, okay? What something like thyroid hormone or any fluctuation in hormones will do is knock the hairs out of their growth phase. Okay, that's actually the same thing minoxidil does when it starts, and it's a normal part of the process. It's evidence that it's working, not working. But what it'll do is shift the hairs from the anagen phase quickly to the catagen phase and onto the telogen phase, so they shed. Okay, they're not really given that much time to grow. And what's happened here, I guess I got to thank this a little bit, and then also the thyroid, perhaps more that, but I've really targeted the hairline with this, and it definitely is doing something. 20% azelaic acid. The azelaic acid that was in Lipogaine was 5%, so on paper 4 times stronger. Will it be 4 times better? Probably not, but will it be better? I don't know. It should be at least equal to or greater than. Okay, if azelaic acid were to ever work for you, it's going to be this. Alright, so I talk about how to put it on real quick. I did go over that in the other video, but you know, if you've watched this one to this point, talk about that. Alright, you're getting out of the shower, right? And maybe you apply minoxidil, you know, formerly with azelaic acid, out of the shower, but don't do that just yet. Okay, if you don't have you're probably either using generic minoxidil or the Lipogaine formula without the AA. Rub the cream on first, alright? And you just want to take a little bit, just enough to certainly rub in, but just kind of glaze the area, but get that in there. Rub it in there. It would also possibly help to have a microderma roller, okay? One of those needle rollers. I recommended that. Also on here, it's definitely an optional thing, but I think it would particularly help with this stuff. Alright, get it real down into the follicles. You know, it certainly couldn't hurt. Will it help? I can't guarantee you that. But rub that shit in. Alright? None of it should be sitting on the skin. Right? Rub it in and then give it 3 or 4 minutes. Okay? It won't necessarily fully dry, but it will have the chance to penetrate pretty much as far as it's going to. Perhaps a little bit more after. Then apply minoxidil. So azelaic acid apply conservatively, moderation, a little goes a long way at being 20%. This is how, you know, my doctor and I have done it, and I believe it's worked great. You know, I guess I'll have a better feeling for it in like 3 months from now, but you know, he approves, and there's no rash, there's no anything. If you know azelaic acid, it is an acne treatment. Okay, it's actually one that works quite well. Acne, similar to hair loss, is the result of DHT latching on to certain things. Okay, you don't even necessarily have to have elevated DHT to have bad acne. You just need to have be very prone to it. Again, a genetic thing. Another thing that DHT fucks up. So this, understandably, rubbed on pimples, will extract or combat some of the DHT. And it's quite an effective acne treatment. Yeah, so that's where it originally comes from. Okay, it's not actually, hair loss has been an off-label use of it, even though quite a popular one because it works. but no longer. I think at least on mainstream sites like Amazon, eBay, they've been pressured by Amazon, who's been pressured by the FDA to remove azelaic acid for whatever reason they want to give. So this is a good call. Lipogaine is still my recommendation as far as minoxidil goes. You know, if not, buy the generic Kirkland brand. And you know what? Like, one of these tubes will last a while. So, you know, like, you might actually be getting more of your money's worth with it. Depends on the frequency you use it. I recommend just no more than at least 18 hours between them. It is pretty strong. You can dilute it with some like lotion and rub it in, but make sure you get it in there. That is the part that I want to stress. Put the minoxidil on 4 or 5 minutes later, and yeah, it's good to go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about Lipogaine. I don't work for Lipogaine. Alright, people wanted to know, if you buy Lipogaine or a few of the other things, I get a commission at Amazon about 4.55%, which adds up to be sometimes $1, sometimes a little more, but usually like around that. So that's my relationship like with them. I'm not selling these guys to get wealthy, selling these guys because, I don't know, it's helpful. What's helped me? I also hate the hair loss industry because there's so much like garbage out there. You should see the emails I get that like people telling me I need to recommend or review their product. It's like I actually know a lot about this stuff, but never would I ever like want to recommend that. It's like a vitamin B formula. That was the latest one. Give me a fucking break. This guy has some other goodies in it. How effective they are, I am not entirely sure. Saw palmetto extract. Some people do well on that. You know, I did not, so I don't recommend it. And I also mega dosed it. But this is also would be a topical, you know, application of it. So, yeah. Beta-cytosterol. Obviously, I know that is an anti-DHT compound. I think a byproduct, or what you know, saw palmetto contains. I know the commercials on TV with Joe Theismann talking about how he pisses less at night because of beta-cytosterol. It's likely that Joe Theismann has never taken the formula. I'm trying to think what it is, but there is some good scientific evidence saying that it does combat DHT. Now, the thing you got to be careful with on this evidence thing, it's not that the studies aren't legit. It's not that the studies haven't been done by good doctors and, you know, performed under, you know, good controlled conditions. There's 2 types of DHT, okay, and they've been very much generalized with a lot of these dietary supplements. Okay, saw palmetto is one that I believe is such. DHT attacks prostate. Saw palmetto is for prostate. In fact, I believe in it. You know what? If you have prostate swelling issues, take saw palmetto. At the same time, that same DHT is not necessarily, sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes both, attacking your hair follicles. Okay, so the same that's hitting you down there is not necessarily the same that's hitting you up there, and that's why I believe it's ineffective for a lot of guys. 2 types of DHT, and perhaps like even a third like analog that isn't getting that much attention, but it can only help. Alright, but I don't necessarily like to recommend stuff that will only help, you know, like maybe just throw it out there, because that's what a lot of these supplements are in the first place. Other than the micro roll, I think that will help, but these MitaHelp formulas aren't like biotin, like just different stuff. You know, we only have so much money to spend, and you know, you want results. You don't want experimental. You know, that's kind of what I'm here for, I guess. But speaking of which, and I'll wrap up this post right now. I talked about in the last video using a compound called RU58841, supposedly the miracle hair loss treatment with no side effects, and I will be doing research with that and seeing just how good it is. Okay, that's in another video. I hope you caught this one, and geez, I talked about this for 10 minutes. Wow.